Another one coming at you with conversations with cheese and the tugboat.
He's getting weirder every time. Conversation is never said normally.
Why is it so creepy?
Yeah.
Conversations. Sounds like it should be someone doing a porno movie.
Yeah, we're getting weirdly intimate here on Cheese and the Tugboat.
Well, I think we're sitting closer than ever before.
On our feedback of the last one was that we weren't loud enough, so yeah. Now we're just huddled together really close by the...
Basically making out with the phone.
Yeah, we don't use microphones because we don't have them.
Yeah, we're not professional by any means. So
if you can just get your friends to listen, maybe we might be able to get some equipment.
Yeah, well, first they'd have to listen, then we'd have to get some kind of sponsor, because I'm sure as shit not paying for anything.
I don't see how anybody would sponsor this, but...
I'm not sure anyone could.
I don't know, maybe like a cheese company or a tugboat company.
I don't think there's a tugboat company. Maybe a tugboat captain.
No, Theodore's Tugboats.
I give $30 a month to this Conversations podcast just to support my tugboat business.
It's a really bad way to pitch your company. What do you do on your podcast? Conversations. Is this his voice?
Is he gonna talk the whole time like this?
You know what? I love your sound. I love your sound, guys. I love where you're at.
We gotta lose the conversations.
I get it. You're having a conversation, and people are listening into it makes sense. It makes sense.
It's beautiful.
I get it.
It's just pure genius, patent pending. That and the Pirate Times.
Pirate Times. Little throwback.
They call that a throwback.
A throwback. So, continuing on in this conversation about like dudes and men, that's what we were talking about last time. Kind of finish it off like these passages, these rituals to get you into like the future of manliness. Chase is learning how to use Microsoft Word here. He doesn't know how PCs work.
I couldn't find the arrows.
He couldn't find the arrows. And I don't know, there's other things about dudes like fixing stuff is like a big thing for dudes. Like we're kind of just known as these guys who just like run in and just try and fix stuff, and it like works really, really well until you get like a girlfriend or a wife or something, and they like the feelings can't be fixed. Like that's like a thing. Like guys, like you see the feelings, and you're like, okay, all right, what can I do to this?
I feel like real men are very practical. They just want to find a simple solution and fix it. Boom, just fix it.
It's like done. It's over with. It's done.
Yeah.
You move forward. It's fixed. It should work until it breaks again. Then we'll get back in it. What?
Oh, sorry. There's just a couple of people looking in the window. I thought we had some people trying to just get in on this for free.
Oh, no. Mm-hmm. No. Get away from the window.
You have to pay your dues.
There's nothing to hear here.
iTunes. Maybe iTunes would sponsor us.
Yeah, maybe we need a sign that
says progress.
Do not disturb.
No, I want
because Chase was really disturbed there. He was really easily distracted by
I'm
people.
like a dog in a car. I just look out the window and I see something new, shapes.
You see other people,
shiny colors. Yeah, and I start yelling at them. I just yell at them and go, hey,
I'm a person too.
Hey. I assume that's what dogs are saying. They're just yelling hey or chips.
And the dogs outside are saying let the dog out, let him out, and you're like, can you tell these guys to let me out? Maybe if you bark enough.
Maybe if I bark loud enough and I can smell the other dogs' butts. I gotta go outside and smell those girls' butts.
Appease those random dogs.
Yeah, shut them up.
But yeah, so dudes just fixing. So here in our new segment that we're testing here is a little thing called Tales from the Tugboat. See, again, if you listen to us, we can maybe get some sound effects machines, but until then, we'll just do it ourselves.
Pretty confident we can, if we put 5 seconds of effort in, we could probably get that off the internet for free. Oh my god, that calendar just did it again.
There's a calendar thing that just like falls off the wall every once, but we think it's ghosts, but it's not ghosts.
Probably ghosts.
It's probably ghosts.
It's probably ghosts.
Getting listening, they want in on the podcast too, and they're like, "Oh, how do we make our presence?"
It just looks like someone sticking their head around the corner, being like, "What's going on in here?"
Did you remember you had this thing to do today? But yeah, we got Tales from the Tugboat. So fixing shit.
All right, so fixing. This one's kind of building and then trying to fix. So I'm told a misguided effort. I had a desk. My parents bought me a desk when I went to university. It was a corner desk. It had pieces on top, which after about 5 minutes I found to be completely useless and in my way. So I took them off and hid them somewhere under the stairs. And one day I thought to myself, wouldn't it be grand to build some kind of shelving unit using those pieces off a desk? And then,
like really regal when you're gonna buy it. It builds.
Well, I'm pretty sure I had a British accent. Wouldn't it be grand? That's your British accent?
That's Irish. That's full on.
Hey, same part of the world.
Like a retarded Scotsman. I don't know.
Scottish I can do. My key is around the room. Take your partner and go around the room. I lost it.
No, Scottish you have to roll those R's like hard. Like they roll R's like way better than the French. Like the grand. Like it's a.
No, you have to go there and get into the small towns.
Grand fixture amongst the room.
When I was in Ireland, my main goal was to try and pick up the accent, but I don't think I was there long enough. So now I just watch Irish television and try to pick it up. Mrs. Brown Boys, hey, they could sponsor us. They probably.
Mrs. Brown Boys, yeah. You hear that? You hear that?
That is a fantastic show. If you love just so much cursing. Anyways, so I thought I could put these shelves and build some kind of other shelf casing, and then all of a sudden I would have this great shelf. I could make a bookcase.
You could.
So in my
your entrepreneurial things.
No, it was more just I could use these. I don't want them to be wasted. So in the mental scheme that I had, I would buy wood or some kind of wood product that matched the color, and you wouldn't even know, oh, are those off a desk? No, I built those out of pressboard and other little small plastic pieces that I, manufactured in my spare time.
Yeah, which is now like, not to say pretentious, but like when you say like you build something on your own is a little bit different than like, because most like IKEA and all that kind of shit, you built it but you didn't build it. Right.
Any idiot with an Allen key could build most of that stuff. Yeah.
So it's like the instructions are already in your
I'm going off the board and creating something of my own.
Yeah.
In theory.
I created it.
So I made the design. I chose what wood I was going to need. I went to Home Depot, bought the wood, brought it back. It had like stamps on it and stuff. And I was like, well, I'll just sand that off later and just do a nice veneer finish on it. But I didn't even know what veneer meant. So I don't know anything about woodworking. My father had no patience for woodworking. He was too busy, didn't teach me anything. I learned some rough carpentry, which is pretty much what happened. Rough carpentry. I had bought the wrong screws. They were too long, so all the screws stuck out about a half inch. When you're building furniture and you're going to be moving around it, having screws that stick out a half inch is not a good idea. I backed into it or brushed my arm. I have many little scars on my elbows from rubbing against the shelf.
And of course you were like, this will be fine when you built it. You're like,
I was like, oh, I'll just saw it off. I'll just use the hacksaw and just cut these tips off. It'll look fine.
I'm never that close to my desk anyways. Like,
yeah, I don't rub. What am I going to rub a shelf? What am I, like, slow dancing with a shelf? You're getting picked in the stomach? If the shelf was hot enough, you would just go with it. But anyways, so I built this shelf, and I was so proud. I had my friend Brown help me carry it into the house, and all he did the entire time was just tell me what a terrible job I had done and how stupid this shelf looked. And to this day, which is about at least 8 years later, he still mocks me for the shelf, which I still have.
Yeah.
So to bend it to the fixing it angle, I'm continuing with the story.
I was picturing the literal thing that
Bending
you made, that
the
you're
shelf.
trying to bend the shelf to the way that you would like it, or something like that.
Pretty much, it was so terrible that I could have. So basically what I did was make 4 corners, kind of just put those pieces off my desk in it, and then build a shelf above and below, and that was my bookcase. The legs, none of them are square to each other, so they're all twisted, and they're all different lengths, so it rocks all over the place. It doesn't stand straight even on the flattest surface. So I moved into a new place and I bought some proper tools, and I had some know-how, or at least I thought I did. So I thought, I'm going to fix this shelf up. I am going to show that ass that my shelf is fantastic, and he just was short-sighted in calling it stupid. So I got a hacksaw, and I cut those long screws off, and I cut into the wood too far. I got a sander, and I sanded all those wood stamps off, and I sanded all the wood, and then I stained it 7 or 8 times. You could still see most of the stamps on it through the stain. The stain's not even close to the same color as the veneer on the shelving pieces.
I don't want to sound stupid, but what do you mean stamps?
So you know how sometimes you buy rough lumber?
Yeah.
And it just has like the stamp of where it came from or whatever, like a black. Usually people don't buy those pieces of wood for, fine furniture.
Yeah.
They usually go and get pieces of wood that are for that, not something you're using to frame a house. I didn't know that. So
you just figured you'd sand that out.
I thought I could just buff it out, exactly. Just like buff out. Oh yeah, just buff it out. Just write it off.
So it had like leached into the wood, like it was just like this permanent.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The ink had just soaked.
Oh no, I sanded most of it off, but you could see like it was
where you sanded.
Yeah, it was pretty horrific. The stain color was nowhere close to the veneer of the pre-made shelves. The legs I managed to get kind of level, and then moved into a room that wasn't level. So once again, I had that teeter-totter effect. Was a little. All you have to do is take a little piece of cardboard, just fold it up, just put it under the leg. Boom.
Yeah.
Level. So problem solved. So I did I dressed it up, made it, solved all the problems that I thought there was. And this brought on even more ridicule. Just a massive failure on my part.
It's like when someone makes fun of your haircut, and then you come back the next day with like a different haircut, and then they make more fun of you because you influenced you in your decision.
Super high on drugs and go and get a buzz cut, and then someone sees you and says, "Whoa, that's quite a change," and you go upstairs and shave your head completely.
Yeah, that never happened, by the way. It did.
It did to a friend of ours.
Not to us.
We'll leave his name out of it in case these ever do become public.
Exactly, but yeah.
And he somehow listens to it.
So that actually is a pretty good segue into just how dudes relate, because basically making fun of each other is majority of conversations.
Paramount.
And here you have a situation where you make something, you're trying to create something, you kind of know it's shit, but then this guy's really points out the flaws.
I was pretty proud of it when I first finished it. So it was a pretty crushing blow for him to say, "That's awful. That is the worst shelf I've ever seen," and then continue to mock me to everyone that we met. We would have dinner often, and he owns an establishment, so we're there, and the wait staff, and they were talking about shelving at one point. He was like, "Yeah, remember that terrible shelf you made? Hey, gather around, everyone. Listen to this. Tugboat here made just an awful shelf one time. He thought it was awesome. He came in my room and was like, 'Come see my shelf.'" What an embarrassment.
Did that become a thing for him? That he just would describe situations "Oh, this is totally Chase's shelf," where he's something you're really proud of.
Well, at least I didn't build a terrible shelf. I feel like if him and I were married, that would come up as the, boom, trump card in every fight.
I hear you picked up a girl last night. Yeah, but she was a real Chase's shelf.
She was a real shelf that I built on my own, What?
What are you talking about?
I need an adult.
So that was Tales from the Tugboat.
So yeah, we can. It is. I don't know necessarily if that's being a man, but it happens a lot to men where you get huge failures, and your friends and associates make sure to never let you forget them.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I'm running into now is that I'm engaged now. Hold your applause. Are you plotting? I'm engaged.
All I hear is crickets.
Crickets? Okay. So I got engaged, and the thing is my fiance's dad, and by the way, the word fiance just bugs the shit out of me. Like,
I don't actually say it, I just say Beyonce.
Beyonce,
and then people say, what?
What?
And I say, little kids can't say fiance, they say Beyonce, so I don't want to embarrass them. I actually said that twice yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
Fiance. My fiance's dad is like a contractor, carpenter kind of guy. So like he knows how to like fix everything, and it's like I know how to fix literally like nothing. Like I think I can hook up like an Xbox to the TV or something like that is like one of my handiest things.
He probably can't, so you can lord it over him.
That's probably what I'll do, but it's just like anytime that she needs something fixed, I feel not only do I feel shitty that I can't fix it, but the fact that she now goes to her dad who can fix it for her, and then he gives you like that look like...
I know. I saw it, the exact same thing happened with Dave and Nicole.
Yeah?
Her dad is a general contractor, but he's an electrician also. And he has all the tools, so every time Dave needs to do something, he has to go and borrow the tools. And then he's like, do you know how to do this? And he's like, it's his tools, so he's like very protective of them, which you should be because tools are expensive.
Oh, yeah.
And then he ends up usually like appearing at some point during the job time and just kind of watching, and then he ends up kind of like, look at, just let me.
Yeah.
One of the most emasculating experiences in terms of fixing stuff for me was when they were renovating their physio clinic. I was there. I just happened to be in town. So Dave said, here, help me move this table. And they had it was like a bed, but whoever had it before, it was a Murphy bed. So it had a hinged set of legs.
Yeah.
So our plan was to take the hinges off and then just make those permanent legs. Now, a normal person would have just put a couple of screws in and made that permanent, but we wanted to take all the hinges off and make the legs match the other legs, and because it was going to be in the middle of the floor at this point.
Yeah.
2 hours into this pedestrian task, one of the contractors that was working on something else in the clinic came over and said, are you guys kidding me? You're still doing this? And he took a laser level, like one of those laser lines, and just put it, and then just took his little saw, cut the legs all off to the same length, and said, there, it's done. It's painful to watch you two, and just walked away. And we were like, ha ha ha.
We're stupid.
And I just said, oh, he's making the decisions, I'm just helping. But really, we were both like, ugh, that wasn't good.
How many master's students does it take to saw off some legs, or...
In this case, it would have been more than two, because apparently two was not adequate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's basically where I'm at. So it makes me want to fix shit, but like it's the same thing like you said. Like your dad didn't show you how to fix the things.
Showed you other things.
And then the weird thing is that they can kind of get mad at you for not showing you how to do things. Like, has that ever happened to you, where it's like you don't know how to do something and your parents are just like, oh, how do you not know how to do that?
No, and then, I'm generally smarter than both of them.
No. Well, my parents do that. So, basically my dad, but he did renovations when I was 5, and he's like, I don't want you around here. Go outside, play with this ball.
Yeah. He probably just wanted to get it done and didn't want to be slowed down.
Exactly. So I never learned how to do anything. Not
realizing he was crippling you for life.
Now, that's the thing. This didn't affect me for the first 25 years of my life, but now I'm living with a girl and having a house, and you realize stuff just breaks all the time, which is dumb. I don't like it. I don't understand why people don't make things that don't break. But now I'm having to learn, and thank goodness for YouTube. The other day our fan broke, and I tried to learn how to fix a fan via YouTube, and it
sometimes
worked.
That can go horribly wrong.
It worked, but the thing that was broken was the capacitor, which I thought,
flux capacitor.
Obviously, time travel fan. You can set it to different settings, takes you back, all this kind of stuff. Not sure I'm going to find 1.21 gigawatts, but I'm sure.
You'd have to call Ontario Hydro 1 and see if they can up your amperage to 1.21 gigawatts.
We have a friend in Hydro. We could get that.
Handsome Pat.
Handsome Pat. We get Handsome Pat in here, hook up our fan. That would be a shitty time machine. At least the DeLorean was this kind of
You just have to run
of the
more
vehicle.
volts through your fan.
That would suck. Like
Is that the bathroom fan or the kitchen fan?
Like the fan in our room, because we don't have air conditioning, so we just have like blowing air in our faces that's slightly cooler than the room is.
Just the speed of the air.
So the capacitor was broken, and it was like, I looked online, and I could be really dumb, which I probably am, but it seemed like they had capacitors for like other things.
Yeah, Phil's TV, that was the problem.
There is a capacitor in there?
It's flux capacitor.
So they have like these like $40 capacitors or something like that, and I'm like, this is an
$8 fan.
This is a $10 fan. I'm not going to get a $40 unless it's like one of those like fucking Tim Allen on Home Improvement.
Yeah, industrial
like,
capacitor.
It's like
next thing you know, you and Val are just blown right out of the bed.
Yeah.
Lying on the the floor like,
we're just like
Kevin,
pinned. No, not even.
Way to fix the fan.
Like pinned against the wall with the sheer force of this air. Face, like the skin, just like.
This is how we sleep now. This is how we sleep now.
Feeling like weird Spider-Man.
You wake up in the morning and your feet are just like filled with blood. All the blood in your body ran to your feet because of the sheer force. That would never happen.
That would never happen, Jason.
I think there's some science to support that. I think there's some basic science to say that would never happen.
Yeah, so that's like the dilemma with fixing stuff, but I don't know, I feel like eventually I'll just like learn how, and I know my parents will learn how to do these things. I could ask my grandpa, he used to fix all kinds of stuff in his garage, which is just this hoarding, just huge, but now he's really like senile and doesn't really, he's pretty old, so he can't really teach me, probably like nail a cucumber into a light socket. I don't know, I think he would be doing something, I'm not too sure, but.
I wonder what hammer you would use for that.
Ball peen.
That'd be pretty aggressive.
I guess there's I'm just like, that's the only hammer. Well, I guess there's like a sledgehammer.
Claw, framing, sledge.
Claw, framing hammer, what's that?
Yeah, it's got a different kind of claw on it. Shut up, it's for framing.
Oh, got you, gadgets.
Oh, I can't
do that. That's my claw impression.
Dr. Claw. Is he a Dr. Claw or Mr. Claw? I asked someone this the other day.
I'm pretty sure he's a doctor.
Yeah.
Misters aren't usually like evil.
No, they're just too generic.
Yeah.
Do you think Dr. Claw went to school with Dr. Evil?
Probably they got the same.
Or the same alma mater, at least.
Yeah. Like, picture one shotgun Dr. Evil, and then he had to go with, shit, like, what kind of doctor can
And why is he called Dr. Claw? You only see the one hand, and it's not that claw-like. No. It's like a metal hand, or some kind of weird Michael Jackson one glove.
It adds the mystique of Inspector Gadget. I just watched Inspector Gadget to see the claw.
Yeah.
Or see the claw's face, but you never.
They should have just showed it on the last one, like on Home Improvement when they showed Wilson's face.
Yeah.
Which I never saw that one.
And they shouldn't have done that.
I never saw it, so I still live with the intrigue.
It is not what you expect, but it's exactly what you expect.
I can just look it up on IMDb at any time.
He actually looks very similar to your.
Whoa! Spoiler alert.
Face.
Damn it.
Look in a mirror, Chase. That's
now
Wilson's
I'm just going to
face.
see Wilson every time.
Yeah.
It's clean shaven. Soft bearded.
Ruin your life.
You ruined my life. I'm just going to run into traffic now. Naked, of course. That's how people know I meant to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise they'd be like, oh, that poor guy just somehow got hit, must got pushed. Nope. He was naked. He knew what he was doing. That was on purpose.
Really? Hardly ever do I look at a naked person and go, they know what they're doing. They know exactly what they are doing.
They did that on purpose. They were naked.
Purpose. Yes.
That was premeditated.
Yeah.
The clothes came off, unless they were in some kind of weird fire scenario where their clothes burned off.
Yeah, I feel like...
Or like somebody put too big of a capacitor in a fan and blew their clothes off.
Naked things are not planned, and if they are, it is literally like 30 seconds before the clothes are off.
No, not true. Erroneous. when people streak at sports games, there's a plan, usually. Unless they just get really drunk. And then they run on the field. Because that's the noise people make like right before they run on a field. It's just that kind of dinosaur moan.
Has there been a female streaker at a sporting event?
That's a good question.
Because I feel like that's just...
Not off the top of my head can I come up with one, but I'm sure in the history of the world.
Yeah, because...
I want to say in Europe.
Yeah, maybe. Because I just feel like that's something that obviously like a dude would do, would put in a lot of effort. Like, if you're saying they're sitting around planning this with blueprints and
oh no, I
like,
think
a
it's more
schematic
just
diagram.
like, I'm gonna leave my clothes here. You come and pick me up at the other end with your van. Then yet another use for those vans.
Yeah.
Is picking up
you're right.
streakers.
The sliding door with the...
Yep, it's perfect for getaways.
Yeah.
Bank robbers. Boom.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to our man discussion. So, just looking at our list, which you're not supposed to know we have a list, but...
We have a list.
No, go back up. That's where I was going. One more thing that, you're not taught. It's just something you have to learn on your own sort of thing. And I don't know anyone that's kind of... You kind of see other people do it, but it's not like someone sits you down and says, today we're going to learn this.
That's true.
Cooking meat on a barbecue.
That's true.
No, my parents, actually my dad is awful at barbecuing. I learned that last week. That
my dad is awful at cooking.
He tries to cook it on the highest heat. He burns everything, and just no patience, no know-how. I said, you should cook it on lower heat, and he's like, what do you mean? I was like, the barbecue has different heat settings.
Yeah.
It's like, pretend your barbecue is an oven. Would you cook your chicken breast at 500 degrees
for 10 minutes?
For 10 minutes. Would you try and do that? And of course his answer was, yeah. Because he doesn't know how to use an oven. He knows how to turn it on, but I don't think he grasped the overall concept.
Well, on that line, my dad, for one Thanksgiving, he was saying that he made the turkey. Like, he cooked the turkey. That was his thing.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those, like, in a bag turkeys. And he wanted to put it on broil for one.
Mistake.
Just like one of the... And he just kept going on all night. You set that to broil?
You put it
on broil? And then he just kept bragging about this turkey that he made that he didn't make. Because he can't cook at all. But it's interesting because, it's never taught. But, I don't think my parents could teach me. And, honestly, I love my mom. She made great meals, my entire childhood, great.
Yeah.
But cooking meat was not her forte. She just...
Women often struggle with the meat.
She did not get... Yeah. She treated meat like it could kill you if it wasn't cooked to complete darkness. Mm-hmm.
I think everyone over 40, there was some kind of... Probably PSA in the old days
caused polio.
They said, if you don't cook your meat all the way through, you're going to die.
Your child will die.
You're going to die. Your kids are going to die.
And they were
Conversations.
They were like, whoa, it was on TV.
Well, it must be true.
It must be true.
We don't critically think in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah. And we grew up in small towns. If one person dies in your township or town, it's like...
Ever.
That's a good 10% of the population, and you're like, shit.
Oh no, that story would last forever though.
Oh yeah.
Oh, old Mildred didn't cook the roast all the way through, and her husband Leroy, dead.
The Jessups.
Probably at the table, dead.
The Jessups, they did not.
Did not cook that meat all the way through.
And Leroy Jessup did not.
She got an alcohol problem after that and eventually killed herself, but just a sad story. So that's why our meat, you have to chew like you're chewing on an old heel of a boot.
Yeah, and then you move down south and you just meet people you live with who learn how to cook meat properly, and they're like...
They cut their steak open and it's medium rare, and you're like, oh my god, you're gonna die, don't eat that, no!
Did you not hear about Mildred and Leroy?
The Jessups!
The Jessups! The old meat scandal in 1992.
Yeah. Instant death.
Instant death.
So then there's other things like the Food Network where it gives you kind of like a pretty not formal education.
Yeah.
And not extensive.
When we were talking about transitions into manhood or thing, I think honestly, cooking meat properly on the barbecue, I made ribs literally yesterday.
Yeah, terrific, by the way.
Amazing, and they were the best ribs I had made. It took me about 3 tries at ribs. They were all good, but just not great ribs. These looked professionally done.
They were very good.
I could have sold those to people and they would have bought it.
Yeah, for $20.
Yeah, I could have marked that up. $20.
$18 markup.
2 full racks. 2 full racks. I could have got $40 for those.
Yeah.
Instead, I fed it to the Tugboat and he ate them, and I felt just as good.
They were delicious.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the ribs a lot.
And
then we went to Rib Fest.
And when another dude sees another dude fucking up on the barbecue,
it's embarrassing.
They get embarrassed, but I feel like it's a situation where it's like, that's a definite take under the wing situation. That's like, they feel kind of bad for you.
Not necessarily. I've seen a lot of people just ruining barbecue that I was going to have to eat, but it's pretty emasculating if you go and just step in and say, you're doing this wrong. It would be like if you were watching someone having sex with their girlfriend or wife and you see that they're doing it wrong. You can't just step in and say, excuse me, you're doing it wrong.
You're comparing.
How are they different? There's meat involved.
You like to turn them over every 10 minutes. Pink centers are a good thing. I don't know, Kevin, that's gross. Why would you say that? Oh no, I revealed my true name on the podcast.
Oh no!
Ah!
I'm pretty sure that the only listener, myself, knows who you are.
The cheese is out of the bag.
Good, the identity of the Tugboat is still a mystery.
Shit.
But yeah,
oh, man.
But yeah, you can't just go up and say, like, especially if it's like I watched my uncle do it one time, and he's cooking on high heat. And Phil, the last time I was at their place, he was cooking chicken. Mind you, we were half cut. He was cooking chicken on the highest possible heat that he could get the barbecue to, and doing that 500 at 10 minutes. And I said, low and slow are the most important words for barbecuing.
And golf takeaways. Golf club takeaways, low and slow.
Yeah, just do it. And he started to get offended.
Yeah.
But he's pretty defensive whenever I tell him anything now. But you can't just go in and say, you're doing that wrong. You don't know what you're doing. Unless you have the reputation of, like, the master barbecutionist.
Yeah. And you probably, like, just continue to cook it that way, even though you know... You probably, in your heart, you know it's not the right way to do it, but you just continue it out of spite.
Well, that, when you're told, yeah, but...
Yeah.
The next time you might be like, well, maybe I better try it some other way. Then you're like, I learned how to barbecue!
Would you prefer a, like, gentle nudging, like, just nudging, just squeaking your way in there, or would you prefer, like, the person to just throw you completely out of the area? Like, just, like, back the fuck up, I'm gonna do this. Which one would you prefer? Both on the receiving end or on the giving end?
I think you would get over the pushing out of the way one quicker. If they're just like, get out of here, you're destroying, you're ruining this.
It's like the seriousness of the situation has been communicated by being tossed out. Like,
just get out of here, and then you're like, oh, what a dick. Fine, it's your problem now. Jerk.
And you eat the ribs, and they're like delicious.
Yeah, and you're like,
okay, that's fine. You got to show me how to do that. Can you do that?
Well, normal people would do that, but like a lot of guys would just be like, I hate that guy. I hate him forever for that.
Cooking the ribs at 500.
Push me out of the way. Perfect rib cooking temperature, 520 degrees Celsius.
Those would have been the best ribs I've ever made, and he ruined it. I was making the perfect ribs. Yeah. They were perfect.
That's like that was going in. That was going in. How many times on a practice putting green, someone like arsing around hits your ball the way you're... That was in for sure.
You were playing basketball and they just swatted out of it.
I had that. You missed the last 15 shots in a row. I was due.
No one ever says that when there's like a cock block moment either.
Yeah. I was in.
I was going in.
I had it. What are you doing?
I had that. Why would you do that?
Mom.
And on the receiving end, I know I'm a nudger. I would just not be able to be like, hey man, get out, you're doing this wrong. I would be like,
I think it's pretty tough. You'd have to sit there and watch them do it for a while. Just build your fury up.
Yeah.
And then just be like, I can't take this anymore. Get out. Whereas you could be like, you should probably, this is what I did to Phil, which was probably annoying. You should probably turn the heat down. The heat's probably too high.
He would definitely give you a frig off for that one.
Oh yeah, I got many frig offs.
Frig offs.
I don't feel right, hassling him because he is a meat man.
Yeah.
He works in the meat business. He's a meat guy. But
yeah.
The chicken, it turned out.
Business doesn't mean you can cook meat.
It turned out, but the inside was on the questionable side. Like, he's safe. He uses the thermometer and checks everything, which I never do that.
Yeah, I never do, but I kind of wish I did because I kind of. It's because you take that, like,
Worst case scenario, you're not gonna keel over dead like the Jessups. You're probably just gonna get diarrhea until all that's out of your system. And if you really screw it up or there's parasites in the meat, you'll get diarrhea for like a day or two.
A day or two, which isn't.
But you might have like one just horrible poop afterwards.
And as we've discussed, we're gonna have like the nice cashmere toilet paper. Like,
yeah, it's like your butthole is getting kissed by an angel. Every time you wipe.
I have a feeling demons would be more apt to like kiss your butthole than an angel, but that's just...
It's the feeling of it. It's not actually happening. Although...
It's a metaphor, Kevin.
Yeah.
No, it's a simile, Kevin. They use light.
I don't even know the difference anymore. All of my grammar is gone.
There's a simile and a metaphor and a...
But, here's the simile for you. Which, of course, now will not be a simile since I don't know what it is. So the barbecuing thing and me poking at Phil, brings into the kind of emotional response that he had, which was just immediately to defensive anger.
Yeah.
So, for men, what's the kind of... What emotions... Is it okay to express emotions other than anger? Like, I feel like anger, everyone's like... Yeah, he was mad. Okay, no, that's fine.
Like,
but to be super emotional, and I'll just use a quick example. So I went to a wedding, one of my friends.
Just one.
Yeah,
ever.
Just one in my life. I was in the wedding party, and I've known him for, 7 or 8 years. I work with him pretty closely. And, he's always one of those, like, macho, puts on the front guys, like, oh yeah, look at that girl. Oh yeah, and they're like, oh, we should get in a fight and stuff like that. And usually just when he's drinking, but
which goes, give me a brew. I'm gonna go hit on that broad, or I'll fight you.
Or fight.
That's basically
that broad's man. So, anyways, at his wedding, he was super emotional.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm so happy you guys are here. I'm so in love. I can't believe this. I'm so happy right now. And I turned to the guy beside me in the wedding party. We're at the head table, and I was like, who is this? Who is this ninny up here talking about his feelings? And I was like, that's kind of a dick move. Yeah, Guinea.
Anyways, continue.
He was an Italian. So just like he expresses emotions, and our immediate reaction was to be like, who is this guy? He's kind of jerk is this?
Yeah.
But anger, when he gets angry, which is a lot, is kind of just
that's our neighbor.
Taken for granted. Just you're like, oh yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I guess he got mad.
He took a hammer and smashed a big hole in the wall. He was upset. What do you say? But then when he said, I'm so happy right now, I love this, you're like, what is he doing?
He's not.
Who is this?
Properly.
Who is this imposter up there?
How is this?
That's
Why?
not the right emoticon.
How? Why? What?
What bizarro world are we living in?
Like so men aren't allowed to be like in love and express how in love and happy they are.
Yeah, so can they?
Yeah, I think it's trending that way.
I think that's the part of the evolution of that 50s Paul Bunyan, go out and work on the land or the bush and come in and your hands have calluses.
Yeah. And
you only get angry, you never show any like appreciation towards your mate.
Yeah.
To now people can say like, I really...
Hey, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although that's not really an emotion, just gratitude, but you know what I mean. You see where this is going.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like, I think there's, like, different ways of expressing gratitude. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's, like, the dude gratitude that's, like, that nod.
Yeah.
Like, that nod, like...
The dude to dude, like...
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Just to, like... Yeah.
Yeah,
it's understood, like, this
that
unspoken...
I told that story about when we played in the Spungos and we were in that tournament and there was that guy that was on the varsity team and all his teammates were awful. But he was so good that he carried them right to the finals, and then him and I had some epic battles at the net, and after the game... during the handshake, you look in the eye and you're like, good game. And he's like, yeah, good game. It's like, you both mutually agree that you had great games. And you walk away and you're like, yeah, that guy's good. He's good. And he's probably Assumedly, it's like that guy in the big tiger shirt. He's good. That was funny.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a dog in the house.
A very frail 16-year-old dog was trying to climb up to sniff what was on the top shelf, and it was quite comical to see.
Interesting, talking about dudes and dogs are man's best friend.
That dog might have to go outside.
No, she senses something.
Like how she's sniffing the leash and standing at the door.
How much time we got left on our podcast?
Oh, we have all day. But,
I'm not interrupting this great conversation.
Conversation!
I mean, I have to pee and I'm not stopping, so I'm not going to go out and take that.
I just peed my pants.
Oh.
I'm on a wooden chair, so it's fine,
I
right?
think khakis are probably one of the better ones to pee in. Nah.
I would say diapers,
Diapers up?
but I'm not a doctor.
That's true. But yeah, I think, like, it's trending in a way where dudes are, like, able to, like, express, like, a little bit more, but it seems like it's more okay to express that in front of, like, their partner or within a female thing, because it can almost be used as, like, as chips or points or... Chips or points or, like a thing. Like, I always felt like dudes crying was, like, such a total, like, weapon if used appropriately. Like, I've literally never seen my dad cry in my entire life.
Are you been at funerals?
I haven't been to a funeral with my dad.
Okay.
So my family is full of life. Like, there hasn't been much death in my family.
Mine's
or, like,
the opposite.
You have, like, all the death.
So much death.
And crying. Like, just...
Yeah. Well, no, but like, at my grandpa's funeral, like, his dad's funeral.
Yeah.
You know, everyone cried at that.
Yeah.
But, he had a lot of aunts and uncles, which I guess I also had those aunts and uncles, and they are all dead. There's, like, 2 out of... Because my grandpa had a family of 11. So, I mean, that's lots of opportunity for death.
Yeah.
And death has seized that opportunity. So there's maybe 2 or 3 left, including my grandma. Like,
yeah,
that's
and my grandpa's like the youngest of.
Yeah, mine was in the middle.
Yeah.
So all his older brothers and sisters all have kicked off.
Yeah.
And then
horsed out.
Yeah, they horsed out. There was a bunch that it was a fun game of either it was going to be cancer or just cancer on that side,
or like uncooked meat,
or poorly cooked meat. Just 2 bites, face on the plate, smash to death, instant death. It's like the 5-finger move in Kill Bill.
Oh.
It's like 5 minutes later, you just fall out of your chair. That's probably what happened to Elvis.
Yeah.
He was probably eating a burger on the toilet. We should have John to confirm that.
Confirm that.
I'm pretty sure he was eating on the toilet and just keeled over to death, or he was constipated from the copious amount of drugs he was taking and pushed too hard and blew his heart up.
Either or.
Yeah. Or he's still alive. You know, some people will tell you he's still alive, which is fun to walk down that road sometimes.
Yeah.
Take a little trip. A little day trip down that road. Spend some time. Buy a souvenir, you know.
Yeah.
Good times.
I've like never I haven't seen that much crime, but like I feel like if you see a dude cry, for the most part you're like, oh, like something serious is happening. So like a funeral would be one of those situations, but like I remember there was like this guy in high school and he was like he was a crier and he was dating one of the friends who was a girl, and it's just kind of like I think they're just so struck by like a dude who cries. They're like, oh, he's like so sensitive, like, oh man, he's supposed to be like super serious. And like it works really well. Like it's like he's sensitive and like he's nice and like let's get in on that, and you rope them in. But then it reaches a point where it's like, oh,
you're overdoing it. He just cries all the time.
Yeah, like he ran out of peanut butter and just started to like tear up, and it's something that can be used to your advantage. Not that you should.
No.
But it's just something like that's how rare crying is for a guy. Is that women?
You're going to the same tricking thing as guys wearing beards.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same concept.
This dude beard that's like tricking women.
And then you start crying, and they're like, "I don't understand. He's a manly man, but he's crying. It must be such an important loss that his peanut butter's empty."
I thought tears would like corrode the beard, like that. Like tears were like
you gotta shave the tears off.
You gotta shave off the tears.
Throwback.
People, I really hope you listen to these sequentially. You don't happenstance go, oh, new podcast.
No, it's fine, because then when they listen to the original one, they'll be like,
like a time machine.
That's what they threw back to.
Yeah.
Flux capacitors. $40. Have your own fan time machine.
Yeah. So, going off of that, like, I do think, like, honestly, like, anger is probably, like, more acceptable for dudes than, say, crying would be. Crying anger would probably be just throwing off, like, that would throw shit off. Like, people would be, like, not like, the kid, basically, the kid...
I've been close to, it's more of a frustration thing, but so close, like, doing something at work and you're by yourself, and you know that if there was one other person to, like, just hold this piece over here while you do this, it would be over.
Yeah.
And you're so frustrated that you're just like, you just sit with, like, despair and frustration. You're like, I could cry right now. I could cry.
I honestly think it's, like, literally the scene from A Christmas Story where he beats the shit out of that bully. Like, he just, like, snaps one day. Little Ralphie, like, just... There's, like, this bully, he's a red-haired kid, and he has his little crony, and they're, like, they bully these kids day in, day out.
Kranger.
And Ralphie, like, doesn't think he's gonna get his Red Ryder BB gun or whatever. He's gonna shoot people's eyes. So he just, like, builds, like, this frustration that you're talking about. He just, like, builds, and then just one day, he just, like, beats the crap out of this kid. But, like, while he's doing it, he's swearing, and he's, like, whatever. But then, like, gets to the tail end of it, and he starts, like, crying because he's just, like just all emotions. Just he's like puking out emotions. He is
he's blowing his emotional load.
He's busting an emotional nut.
That's what the tears are.
Yeah.
Is your emotional load.
Exactly. And then, like, his mom shows up. He's like, "What are you doing?" And then he just, like, full on tears. He's just, like, collapsing from like having exerted all this kind of stuff. And
girls do that.
That's, like, probably what would happen, but. I think it's trending that guys are able to express maybe a few more emotions, but there's still that tail end of, like, dudes are supposed to be, like, man, like, I like when my dude is just, like, stone-faced or, like, angry or, like, gets mad every once in a while or whatever.
That's what girls that date dicks or girls that try and date their dad generally date guys like that.
If your dad was it.
Here's a mind-blowing thing that should have probably been our overall conclusion. But, is it just me, or... sifting through some of these things, are men and women starting to just, men were this way and women were this way now? It's just kind of mixing. You can't see my awesome mixing motion what I'm doing.
He looks like he's solving a Rubik's Cube, but like a spherical one.
Or just like playing with one but not even looking, just spinning on one axis.
Or if like people who smoke marijuana, those like little things that like grind.
I've even seen those.
You put the weed in it and then
those
you grind
potheads
it.
That live in our
we don't do that. We're not affiliated with that. We've seen this. We've seen the paraphernalia.
But if you do, that's your thing.
That's your thing. So that's what he's doing. He's doing the grinding of the
little grinder action.
Yeah.
But anyways, mixing and becoming almost like one gender.
Yes.
So it's just going to become one thing.
Like O-Man, because you can take the W off, I guess. It's like man and
that's
woman.
That's a country.
I
don't think you can...
Oh.
No,
Omar? No, that's a person.
No, I think you would stick with the things just because the plumbing's different. But
you feel like emotionally and mentally...
Women are becoming CEOs and taking those traditional male gender roles, even in relationships where they're like bossing and beating dudes up.
Yeah.
That's just horrifying to me. But and then you have men that are more emotional and try to wear beards to look like they're manly men.
Yeah, I feel like it'll like kind of meld together, but then it'll reach some sort of critical mass, and people will be like, "I thought I wanted this," and then they don't, and then it'll split off again.
It could, but I think it's just going to go on the same track, and then it's just going to be transcendence.
Yeah, because like I think. If it's one thing that I've learned from
machines
all science,
are going to come in from the side, and it's going to be a three-way man, women, and machine, and then eventually all our consciousness will be uploaded into one giant server around the planet.
Yeah, see, I feel like I have a totally like opposite theory where I feel like men will get completely phased out because we have like just plethoras of sperm banks and stuff, and then you would probably use males who
the
grow up to
machines
like
will take us out. They'll see us as a threat.
Yeah, because like I just think men. Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, like what I've learned from science and history is that theories always go from like this one extreme, and someone was like, "That's not it. let's go to this other exact
Let's go to the opposite
extreme. And then people are like, yeah, no, we were totally wrong before. We're like now completely right. And then that doesn't work out. And then someone's like, okay, there's like this thing. And then this other extreme, I'm doing actions too. I'm like doing like to the window, to the wall kind of thing on the opposite sides. And then it just like, they go like, I think somewhere in the middle, if you included like some of this and some of that and just kind of like
moderation.
That's our new theory. And then it just becomes infinitely confusing because it includes like everything ever.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like that's probably men and women. It's like very male dominated, then very like women dominated is coming, or it's kind of there a little bit.
On the cusp.
And then it's gonna like meet in the middle, hopefully. But we never know. But yeah, that's how I see it going.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And then now I'm starting to notice too, and I just have one of my friends from public school. For some reason, we're friends on Facebook still. She just got married, and I saw like the wedding photos and stuff. Yeah. And she's one of those women now that, and I think it's, you know, at one point, and I'm talking like before pirate times, a sign of a good woman was the like how fat she was, and that meant that she was like taken care of and successful and stuff like that. And that's how they chose their men as well. But we're talking like pre-pirate times.
Pre-pirate times.
PPT. And then after that, it was like they wanted women to be curvy, like in the 50s, Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah. And
I almost said Marilyn Manson, but yeah. Marilyn Monroe and stuff like that. And then through the 90s, it was like thin. Yeah. Like, we want you to be anorexic. And
well,
now,
kind of 70s, that kind of.
Yeah,
there was
in there too.
Twiggy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, some gross looking, like Nicole Richie looking broads. But now it seems like toned and.
It's toned.
So, but now it's starting to move now towards like buff. Fit. So this girl that beyond like the girls that compete in like the muscle pageants. So this girl in her wedding dress has got huge pipes, like massive man type shoulders, and I was like, for me, I don't find that attractive. But some dudes obviously do, but you know, just that brings in, you know, what physique is now considered manly, because you get a lot of guys that are slim, and I like to call it yoga skinny. And then you have guys that are like the big muscle guys, which we said is unnecessary.
Yeah,
and,
completely unnecessary.
You know, for the way we live.
Yeah.
Back when you had to, you know, wrestle saber-toothed tigers.
Yeah, like I feel like you could see
pirate times.
Like, yeah, like a logic between, like, say, like as a woman or something, just being like, okay, this dude, he's like so big, he like protect me, keep me safe.
Well, I think inherently that's still in there.
Yeah, but like on the other hand, it's like, okay, this guy, now that he's so huge, like, what if he gets like mad? Like,
yeah,
that would be terrifying. Like, I would want some sort of like kind of weak.
That's interesting.
Guy. Yeah.
The yoga skinny guys, like, they're like, well, he can't kill me with his hands.
But he's flexible and really like.
Yeah, for the sexing.
Maybe you could take us into some sort of alternate form of consciousness, and then that would sort of do something weird through all his yoga.
For the sexing.
But yeah, like there is like quite a bit of change in like shaving. Like if you're jacked, like you have to like shave your hair and stuff, like your chest hair and your back hair or whatever.
Yeah.
Like hairless.
I don't support that.
I don't really have that much hair, but I have like a hairless back, so I don't have to do that. But
I did. Now I'm starting to notice some hairs coming in on the shoulders.
Yeah.
So that goes to the classic Chuck catch-22. He needs a girlfriend to shave his shoulders, but he can't get a girlfriend until he shaves his shoulders.
Oh, that's a catch-22.
That's full on.
Can't get a job without experience. You can't get experience because you can't get a job. That thing.
I like to use the shoulder example more than the job one. I can't get a girlfriend because I have hair on my shoulders.
I don't understand the purpose of having hair on the shoulders. Like,
well, we used to be covered in hair.
No, I know, but why were the shoulders like the last thing to go? Like extra cushion for carrying backpacks, or
probably
people
not.
Carrying people on your shoulders, then they need like a good like soft.
A lot of people it starts in the lower back and just kind of works up. But I have a very nice clean lower back, I know, because I like to show it off often when I bend over to pick stuff up. And then people get so excited by that I extend to show part of my butt crack.
For your information, anyone listening, nobody is
I'm not
excited to see that.
I'm not showing him right now, but I should be.
Nobody's waiting around for Chase to show his lower back.
So for a man, in your estimation, a manly man, what physique would he have now? Are you looking at someone like Clint Eastwood, or are you looking at someone like The Rock?
Yeah, see, like, I would, if you're looking at it, I guess, like, movie star-wise, like, yeah, I would probably say, like, just someone like Clint Eastwood, who's just, like, a good, in-shape, kind of a tough guy. Like, you know he's hard, but he's not, like, stupid big. Like, he looks like he could be just, like, fit and stuff.
He's
like,
not just tough, he's strong.
Exactly. He's strong. And I like that idea, but I mean, that's like, from my perspective, that's like all I can shoot for. Like, that would be as big as I could probably possibly get for having tried or something. I don't like the super, like, gigantic, huge, but I like the idea of being, like, fit. I think that's, like, the thing, is, like, being able to do tasks or, like, last a long time doing tasks. Yep. Again, not lifting. Like, I don't have to lift stuff. I don't have to lift boulders at my place of work. I don't have to lift
rocks up over my head and throw them at animals.
To get to my office, I don't have to, like, roll back this stone tomb thing.
I don't have to wear a suit of armor.
Or, like, climb up a rope to get to the top or anything like that.
Move cannons or pirate times.
Exactly. Yeah, they might have to, like, gear up for that one. But I'm sure I could create some sort of intricate pulley system.
Yeah, we use our brains now. We don't use our muscles. Exactly. So that's why I think that moving more towards, like, the yoga thin, Clint Eastwood, hard as nails.
Yeah.
Physique
should trend back there.
Yeah.
Should get back to that.
And I don't see why we can't, because we're using our minds, not our muscles anymore. It's work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. And, like, nerds are alright. They can kind of just get a skinny...
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson would be horrifying if he was, like, angry at you.
Yes. Very much so. Like, again, he could make you feel pretty safe.
But from a practical standpoint,
yeah,
it's unnecessary.
As a bouncer, yes.
Yes.
As a partner in life, no.
But if all other dudes were not totally jacked and stupid and insane, you wouldn't need bouncers like that. You just need, like, an accountant to count how many people comes in. Wearing glasses and probably suspenders with a pocket protector.
Yeah.
We're at capacity, I'm sorry.
And they're like, okay, then someone will try and figure out
I should just wait until someone else comes in. Or we could buy this business using our accounting knowledge and
I feel like
add another room, so this would never happen again.
I feel like someone would calculate the square footage and do the math and try and find out some sort of scientific explanation.
Actually, I believe your math is flawed. The capacity of 120 should actually be 123 based on the square footage and number of exits. So
not including the amount that, say, like, women would be occupying the bathroom or men would be occupying the bathroom at any given time. That's like an extra 5 that could be in the club.
So let me in. Now.
And he would be like, oh, sorry, I forgot to carry the one, and then...
It seems you're correct. Please enjoy yourself.
Exactly. Instead of, I think it's...
Oh, yeah? You're stupid. I'm gonna punch your face in. Or try and sneak in the window, or whatever happens in these scenarios.
Exactly. So, I don't know, I feel like that's what I would shoot for anyways. Like, I don't think there's any necessary things like that. I don't know how much time we have, but I feel like...
I think we're going to have to stretch into a third one.
Maybe. Okay, because I think respect is something that we haven't touched upon.
Yeah, I think we've
done like a little bit of the head nod.
I can cramble on about that for a little while.
Cramble on?
Yeah, it's the kind of walking.
Like ramble but cranky?
No, I learned about it from Kyle Kinane. He's trying to make it catch on, so I'm helping. It's kind of like a walk, but like maybe like a little bit of a limp, like... You know, rambling on is kind of like you're just moving quickly through things. But when you're crambling, it's more like you're taking your time. Maybe you have like a little giddy up in your little hitch in your step. Maybe a little rock, like a limp, like maybe you twisted your ankle. But you're not going to use a cane or crutches or anything. You're just going to cramble through it.
Just cramble on.
Yeah, you're just crambling along.
Cramble on.
It's like a slow ramble. It's a cramble. So I could definitely cramble on about respect for a pretty good amount of time.
All right. Well, we will do that. I believe that Tales, the Tugboat, was quite a smashing success.
I think the listeners responded very positively to it.
Within the
last time of
15 minutes of what we've been doing since then. And we do have an exciting new segment that we're going to add to the next one. So stay tuned. We got another one. We've got another. Wait for it.
It's going to be good. What we're calling it is grilling cheese, and you'll have to tune in to see what that entails. So we're going to grill them. So
bring your ketchup.
Yeah, I'm going to put ketchup all over them.
It's
going to have to do so much laundry.
It's not that.
It could be. Don't limit yourself. All right, that's the tugboat.
That's the cheese.
Good night.
Tugboat and cheese.
Tugboat and cheese. Conversation.